All right, joining me tonight at the Almighty Church of Rock radio show from the band Autopsy, guitarist Danny Coralles. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Derek. Pleasure to be here.
You guys are playing in Los Angeles Saturday with Repulsion.
We're playing with the mighty Repulsion this Saturday in LA. If anyone's out in the area, it'd be awesome. You can stop by. I don't know the name of the club, but I know the address is 1720 East 10th Street in Los Angeles, California. Come on out, have a brutal, get some death metal in your veins.
Yeah, I second that notion. The band, of course, started back in 1987, formed by Chris Reifert and Eric Cutler. And I know that you joined the band and you were on everything they recorded except for that first demo, correct?
You are absolutely right. You've done your homework. So, yeah, I've pretty much been there almost since the beginning of Autopsy. So it's been a nice long haul for sure.
What are your favorite Autopsy records? If you had to narrow it down to one or two, what's your favorites?
I always think my favorite is the last one we did, simply because I always have the attitude when we go in to record something new that it has to absolutely destroy everything you've done prior. So yeah, I always think the last one I did pretty much.
Nice.
Is my favorite. Yeah.
Very cool. After we're done talking today, we're going to play Ashes. We're actually going to play, what was the name of that song? It's called, Don't Tell Me. I've got it right in front of me, man. I promise. It's Your Eyes Will Turn to Dust. I love that song, man.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
What are some of your favorite metal bands off the top of your head? I know it's generic, but I got to know.
The most generic question ever. My favorite metal bands. Well, I go back quite a ways, so there's all kinds of stuff that's been my favorite throughout the years. But I guess starting with metal, I go back, I would say early on, bands like UFO, Saxon, like the early Scorpions, Iron Maiden, and that kind of, got me into the harder metal sort of scene. And then all hell broke loose when like the Venom album came out and Slayer. Then it was like a different game, so it wasn't long after that I met the Autopsy guys, and then I went back and started tripping on some stuff that I missed earlier, like Sodom and Celtic Frost and stuff like that, and then pretty much just trying to keep up with what's happening today, especially with the Oakland bands like Necrot, Bastum, just our local kids around here. I like to support, their shit.
Now, a lot of people call it death metal, but there's so many names for your band that I've heard and read. How would you describe Autopsy if you had to?
I've heard it described once as a 70s band doing death metal, which I thought was kind of the nail on the head, because I am a 70s guy. So
yeah, the 70s rule.
Huh?
The 70s rule.
Oh, the 70s were awesome. Yeah, I mean, the 60s got the ball rolling. We totally indulged in the 70s, and the 80s weren't bad either. I didn't really like the 80s while they were happening, but looking back, it's like, man, that was awesome times and stuff like that. So funny how that works. Yeah.
I think you and I must be about the same. We must be about the same age.
I'm probably the oldest death metaler that there is. I know a lot of people like to claim that, but I'm 64 and a half. So
damn, dude, I thought you were about 55 or so.
No, dude, I fucking go back to the 60s and the Beatles and stuff like that. So my whole life I've been constantly blown away by music, right? It starts like early as a little kid. Well, like Beatles is kind of kid music anyway. So that got me, happy little kid into it, and then blown away like by Deep Purple or something, or fucking Rocks by Aerosmith. And then it just kept getting, more brutal as time goes on and stuff. So, and I just, I'm stubborn, and I think that nothing will, I won't be blown away by fucking anything. So I'm always ready to accept the next most brutal thing that comes along, and all the way up to death metal. And so yeah, that's where I ended up. just, you know, kept
Uh,
going. It's not quitting.
well, we're glad you're still going, and I have to remind you too. We have the stupid FCC rule about cussing, so if you could play along with
Oh,
that,
I don't even know that I said something, so I
dude, it's
will try
okay.
to. Yeah.
It's okay. Hey, I got a weird one for you. Lily Munster or Morticia Adams?
Oh, you know what? You know, I love Lily Munster. I'll probably pick Lily Munster, but I kind of like the Addams family a little better for some reason. I mean, I love them both. It's hard to pick, you know.
I
But
love that you're putting serious, sincere effort into thinking about that. It's like guys like you and I. This is like serious stuff, man.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, you know, it's a very important decision I'm making here. So so yeah, I guess I'll go with Lily, but you know, we'll see what's up with next week. How that
Nice.
works out.
I got to tell you, I have to agree. Lily Munster does it for me too, man.
Yeah,
Um, let's see. As far as this, something I wanted to ask Chris, and I never did when I interviewed him from Autopsy. You know, the whole death metal world, and like say the bands like Slayer, Venom, Autopsy. There's like this really trippy like fantasy world that's created in the words and the music that's going on there. Now, there's a lot of folks that actually kind of live that way. Like they're just hardcore in every aspect of life, and they don't do things like say pop music, like me and you may say, "Hey, I like the Beatles too." But I know some guys that are pretty rough that just like the heavy stuff. They just like the macabre. That's their whole life. It's like Halloween. Do you guys kind of live that way, or do you find that that lifestyle and those lyrics and the whole vibe is that more just like a sort of like a J.R.R. Tolkien sort of fantasy world you guys create, or is there like an end to that reality that where it becomes scary real? What's your take on that?
that's weird. I know the kids that are in the like the just the total brutality and nothing else. I mean, that's just the way it is when you're young. You know, you want the most brutal thing you can get, and you just got here. You don't have connection to all that earlier music that went down, and you probably haven't even heard it. You know, so I get it. Why people would like just the brutal stuff or nothing else. It's kind of silly. I heard one girl once say, if it doesn't have totally harsh vocals, she can't stand it. Which I'm thinking, like, how sad is that? You know, you're just going to miss out on so much, you know? But as far as us taking the lyrics seriously or something, or what we sing about, like a lot of bands will, you know, touch on Satanism, religion, and stuff like that. We try to stay clear of that. And we're just brutal and gory and disgusting, you know, just simple, you know, on face value, it is what it is. It's just this brutal death metal. And and that's because we love horror flicks, you know, when we were kids and stuff, you know, so we just like the imagery and the brutality of it all. But unless you're, you know, young, it's just not, you know, there's so much more in life to enjoy besides just death metal that I
Yeah.
think it's silly that if you're just, you know, just brutality or die. I mean, I don't think it's silly if you're young because I get it. You know, I was young too, and it had to be like hard or fuck it. You know, there's stuff I like now that I would beat myself up over back in the day. You know, what do you mean you listen to that shit? You know, but yeah, you live long enough, you learn to appreciate, you know, a lot of good stuff. And lyrics, we don't take seriously. Chris does all the lyrics, and they're brilliant lyrics. They're stories, they're little, you know, horror flicks in of themselves, and that's what they are to us. You know, we don't live by the lyrics. Well, you can't because you'd be all sliced and
You'd be in,
disemboweled and everything else, right? But
yeah.
but we love that imagery for the band. For Autopsy, Autopsy is a beast, and it has a simple brain: destroy, destruct, you know, just be as sick and brutal as you can. And we work for that beast, Autopsy. So that's when I'm an Autopsy, that's my job, to be that brutal and to do that stuff. And we do that because we love this beast called Autopsy. It's like it's its own entity, and we're just, you know, employees of it. But me and Chris have also done like some punk rock stuff, you know, like other more lighthearted fare, I guess. So yeah,
Nice.
it's not the only thing we've ever played.
Well, that's a great answer, man. I really wanted to touch on that subject because I don't really hear people talk about that much. Um,
Yeah.
What are your like favorite horror movies off the top of your head?
Oh, well, I mean, once again, I like the Fulci stuff, of course, the original Night of the Dead, Living Dead, the Dawn of the Dead, the Day of the Dead trilogy. I grew up with that stuff, and I love the old Hammer horror films with Christopher Lee. I mean, how can you not love that shit, right?
Ah,
And I
yeah.
mean, you grew up with that as like a kid, that helps inspire your musical taste in a way, with the horror flicks and stuff like that. And Halloween's coming soon, so it's always a tradition to check out a couple of Universal, old school horror flicks, Bride of Frankenstein, stuff like that.
Yeah, you got good taste, man. What do you do on Halloween? What's your tradition? Do you guys hand out candy to kids? Do you watch horror movies? Do you go out?
We used to always go to San Francisco. It was just like a big maniac event that was just wild, just like it was so much fun. But then there was like a shooting one year and the cops like kind of shut it down and everything like that. So don't do that anymore. Basically now it's pretty much a quiet evening. Like I live in an apartment and kids don't come anymore. So so I'm forced to eat all this candy, which just isn't great. But
Package up half of it and send it my way.
yeah, but I'll still put up like, some Halloween decorations and some stuff in the house just for my own, my own entertainment and stuff like that. So
So, where do you reside? Are you in Northern California?
yeah, I'm about maybe 10 minutes from Oakland, right past the Caldecott Tunnel. It's a town called Lafayette. It's like I live in the armpit of Lafayette. It's like a kind of a rich community, but I live in these apartments near the freeway. So it's good to be in the ghetto of a rich society, I guess.
Do you guys get to rehearse much for your band? Do you guys rehearse a lot?
Yeah, well, if we have something coming up, like a show or an album or something like that, if we're doing a record, we practice once, sometimes twice a week. So, or more if there's a show coming up soon. But yeah, we have a practice building that we pay rent to in Oakland. So
What about the future? What's going on with upcoming recordings for Autopsy?
we're probably going to go start working on new songs the first of this next year. Hopefully, go in the studio around June, and hopefully something will come out around October of next year. We'll see what happens.
Keeping it Halloween based. I love it. That's like that could be like when something new comes out around Halloween time. Perfect, man.
Yeah, especially for Autopsy, it's got to be all about horror and gore, and so it's our season.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. If you had one thing to say to the Autopsy fans right now that are going to be watching and listening to this, any message to your fans?
Message to the fans: thank you. Keep listening to Autopsy. If you're in the Los Angeles area, 1720 East 10th Street, Los Angeles, this weekend, we'll be playing with Repulsion, and that will be exciting. And longtime fans, just thank you for sticking with us through the years. And you kids, check it out. It's fucking Autopsy. It's brutal, fucking sick death metal. It's
Awesome, brother.
It's the cream of the crop, my friend.
Well, when I told people I was going to have you on the show, I've had a lot of people hit me up. When's that interview with Danny? I'm like, I know I'm a slag. I got to get this done. So I'm glad that I was able to make this connection. I'm glad you made time for us today. I wish we had a longer interview kind of platform, but it's just cool that you could drop by and be part of the Church of Rock. And now I've had 2 people from Autopsy on the show.
All right. Yay. Thank you for having us, man. We appreciate you. I love the rock stories, your channel. I haven't watched them all, but the ones I do catch, highly entertaining, man. I'm jealous of your life sometimes when I hear these stories. So good for you.
Well, thank you, bro. That means a lot, dude. And I really do love Autopsy. Really grateful that I came into contact with Chris and made friends with him. He's a good guy and just a never-ending source of fun. He's so fun to text with. He's into so many types of pop culture. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's an encyclopedia of pop culture and music. It's like there's not much he doesn't know. So he's a pleasure to talk to and a great friend. So sure
yeah,
enough.
absolutely. I've got to agree. There's nothing I can talk about with Chris that he doesn't know already. It's like, damn, dude, you are an encyclopedia. Well, heck, man, thanks for being here, Danny. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Sometime I have to figure out a way to get some of my autopsy stuff sent down to you to sign for me, man.
Anytime, man. And anytime we're up there or on the way up there, like we do Oregon and Seattle shows sometimes, it'd be cool to stop by and meet you and hang out one day. That'd be awesome.
Well, as soon as you cross over that Northern California border into Oregon, we're the first town in Ashland. So if you guys ever do come through, call me ahead of time and let me know. We'll arrange to meet up for a few before you head on, man.
Oh, hell yeah. Be a great time. Thank you.
Danny Coralles from the band Autopsy. Any last words, my friend?
I'm not dead yet. No last words. Just keep on fucking rolling, motherfuckers.
All right, bro. Thanks so much. We are going to roll into some Autopsy right now, my friends. It's a good one. You're going to have to turn it up a little bit louder. From 2022, your eyes will turn to dust. It's Autopsy here at the Almighty Church of Rock and KSKQ. Thanks, Danny Corrales. You rock, my friend.
Thank you, Derek. Have a great day.